Hi, welcome to the video, and I'm not sure whether I've already done an intro, but what I can show you is where we get to by the end of this video. And what we get to is this timber. This rail for the bench now has a top on it that encloses the thread, and I've reduced the twist in that timber as well. So that's all in this video. I've also, thank you Matt, I've also put a little bit of music in one of the clips because I had to. It was 7 minutes, and that's 7 minutes of real time. I've got down to 20 seconds with a bit of music. So see if you can spot that, put it in the comments and enjoy. Hi, welcome to this week's videos. Did you like the saws up there? I'm going to move them around a bit and sort that out. Last week was a bit about this, which I've just done an Instagram post, and Sjöbergs are going to help me date this bench, which I think will be really cool. And I've just been cutting the threaded rods on this. Have a look. So the way I'm making sure that the threaded rods will fit is I've put a piece of the timber that's going to go on here, on there, 2 nuts. It runs across here, and I put another piece of the timber, 2 nuts and a couple of washers, and that gave me the length. And then I've just done that twice. So now I've got those 2. I can take that out and I can finish the ends on there with a file because I've cut through there. And this can be a problem sometimes when you're cutting through. You just have to go over with a file. You just have to go over the ends and make sure that the nuts go on nice and easy without any problems. So I'm just going to do that. And the only thing I'd say about filing the ends of threads is file from the outside of the thread into the middle of the rod. I just think that's going to work better. It makes sense to me. But if you know different, let me know. And this is the first try. And as you can see, it gets on really well. So, and you just got to keep your eye on the threads. Just make sure you just have a good look at it. Right, that's 1 down and 7 to go. And before you get to the comments telling me you can put the nut on first, you can. If the nut goes on and helps re-thread, you can finish the filing, and then as you're undoing the nut, taking it off the threaded rod, it'll re-thread part of it. But I'm doing this just to make sure it doesn't catch. And then I get the washers and nuts on the ends of each of the 4 rods. That way it's set up for me to just push all the way through. Now I'm not a YouTuber. I am a maker that does YouTube videos. I certainly didn't expect this to go through as well as that. So it all works, but you always, you film something, yeah, it's going to go wrong, but it didn't. And I was just like, okay, this is great. So then on to the next bit. And I just thought, use gravity, turn it over, and then the threaded rod is sitting on top of my timber that it's all measured off. So hopefully by turning it over, these should work exactly the same way as it did the first one. And you just know that it's just like, hang on, I've been lucky. Of course it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. There's bound to be something in the way stopping it going in. So a little bit of help. Oh. And I'm just like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Why did it work for the one side? And I was thinking, this is great. Hang on, pause this. And I'm back. Oh, so I've put the 11mm drill in, and I'm opening it up again, just to make sure. And I don't know why it's slightly different. I can say I caught the rail slightly when I was doing this. And I was thinking, well, that's okay if it just catches the rail slightly. Maybe the rail, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But anyhow, here you go. Watch this. Does it work? I'm doing this voiceover later. Yes, it does work. I'm doing voiceover later, and I can't remember because it was 2 days ago. And this one, if this one works, I'll be a happy man. Oh, blimey. There you go. That's great. And then I'm winding the nuts up by hand, just screwing them up so they're nice and tight, finger tight, and just alternating from one to the other, back to the other one. That's it. Right, that's those done. I'll get a spanner and tighten these up. That's it. It's all tightened up with a spanner, and making the right noises. It's tight against the rails. Look at that, tight against the rails. So I'm happy with that. It's pretty good. Look at the joints now. Look how it just pulls everything up. You know, I know some of you think that I should be doing traditional joints, but tell you what, that bench is fantastic. That is the best bench I've ever worked on for rigidity and strength and ease of taking apart, putting together. It's great. Yeah, there are probably easier ones, but no, I love the fact that I can just tighten it up. Right, let's get the sash cramp off and turn it over. Oof. Wow. Yeah. That's why I joint it that way. That is rock solid. So I know they look too long, but you know I've accounted for that. Right. What's next? Good morning. Getting on with things. I've just come in and there's some glass blowing going on in there. So I'm just going to go and show you. Have a quick hello. Can I watch? Hello. What are you up to?
Well, I've got a bit too big really.
Having fun?
It's too much that.
Is it? I'm filming you, is that alright? Wow. Wow. Good morning, how are you?
Nice to hear.
Yeah. Come to do some work like you have Sunday. Is that on a thermostat? That's why I can hear it every now and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
High fire, low fire.
Sorry?
It's on a high fire, low fire. It's kind of economous, kind of safe gas.
Yeah. And Stephen does this wonderful work over here. He does pieces like this. And this. And these. And some of these, which I love these. Can't see very well because of the light, sorry. And these. I know, super talent. Let's get in the workshop. Already dropped my bag here and already turned the camera off so I can come in and get on with things. So this is what I was doing yesterday. This is a window frame. I was doing this yesterday. Yesterday was Saturday. Window frame in a skip. I'll reuse that and make good of it, unlike the last video. So if you saw the last video, again, this is the window frame, bits of wood from here, there and everywhere, more window boards, window sills, boards, whatever you want to call them. And they are mahogany with paint the other side. Again, they've been rescued from the skip. But today, I'm going to get on with that, do some more on there. Oh, and I have got this to repair one of the days. The arms, that's a bit of a job, but I'll show you in a bit. Right, let's get the place warm and get on with things. This is still here, which is nice. And there's a video that I'm going to be putting out on Wednesday this week. So watch out for that. Short one, Wednesday. That's interesting. Right, let's crack on. I've been cutting some oak down, some timber. So I've got some oak. I couldn't find any pine long enough. And not this one, but this one is cut to length. I've glued it on to this ledge. Let me show you. There you go. It's glued onto there. Slight overhang, that's fine. But I'm also trying to get this is a bent piece of timber. This wants to bow. So I've got the sash clamp there to hold these two together to make this straight. I've taken the pressure off the, oh dear, I say I've taken the pressure off the bench. I thought I'd taken the pressure off the bench. Okay, well I've taken the pressure off the bench, so it was only finger tight. And that one's glued on. Now it's glued on because I'm creating a hole all the way down here. And I've got, if you look in here carefully, I've got some strips of cardboard. The strips of cardboard are to give me some clearance. So there'll be one here as well. They're to give me some clearance between the wood I'm gluing on and the threaded rod so that there isn't an interference fit. It'll slide all the way through like I showed you earlier. Just slides all the way in. So these have been on here a little while. I'll take these clamps off and I'm going to glue this one on, and then and this will overhang again. This will overhang here slightly. I'll do the same on the bottoms. I've got it in 4 places now, and it would have been easier for me to have just done a groove in the top of there, which I could have put over the saw, but that would have meant these would have been closer together and further apart, the better it is. So unfortunately I've got to do it this way. Okay, let me do that, and I can't glue that one up because that one's bowing the other way and I need to take the sash clamp off. So this is going to take me a couple of blooming days to do. But it will be worth it. It'll be worth it because, and this, look, let me show you this as well. I've put the varnished part, because that's off an old kitchen door that was skipped. So the varnished part of the kitchen door is on the inside, so there's a little bit of lubrication, a little less resistance for the timber, for the threaded rod to go through. So that's what's going on there. What else can I show you? Well, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm getting on with. This bench from the previous one. Sjöberg have been in touch with me. I've got details on that coming up soon. I'll be able to share those with you, which is great. I'm really pleased with that. So by putting cardboard there, you're stopping the glue just oozing out. Look, it's run up the corner a little bit, and I've had to pull the cardboard out. That's what I'm doing now. And knowing that this will go down there and through the end. That's what I'm after, without any interference. So that's good. So now I'm going to glue this side on. Do you want to watch? So I'm just using my finger as a fence. I'll show you this thing. Look at this. Oh. See how the glue is away from there, all the way down. Look how good that is. Okay, you know what? Might be easy to just put the wood on and then force it in between, push it in between. This should have, right, timber on, that one in. And this, as I say, this will give us some clearance. It's worth doing. Trust me, I know all about clearance. If you don't allow for it, it'll bite you on the backside. Tolerances. Right, there you go. So that now can be clamped down as the other one, and glue can ooze out. Put a piece on top, G-clamp it down, clamp them together, because I can clamp it together because I've got that bit of cardboard in, and then I can take that off tomorrow, playing this side up, playing that side up, playing the top, because it just needs a little bit off the top just before it touches the thread. So it just needs a little bit off this piece. This is a rough piece of wood, but this is what's happening here is because that is bowed, these extra pieces glued on while it's in that straight position, bit more than straight. This is helping to straighten that timber out. When I put the bottoms on, that'll help a bit more. When I put each side on, again, it'll help a bit more, so that I will get this structurally straight by laminating it a little bit over each time. So that's what I'm doing with that. And then it's all about big G clamps, cramping it down, making sure it's down and tight against the threaded rod. So that's it, glued, cramped. I could tighten this up a bit and that up. I could tighten this up, so if I tighten that up, what's it going to do for me? Well, it could help get the ends in exactly the right place so that they're equal pressure both sides. So it probably is worth doing, just a certain amount of pressure, not too much. And it's because of what's going on. It's because of what's going on here with these ends in conjunction with that end there. So, and these ends here, these two new ends. So just a short little turn. There you go. Job done. Undo that tomorrow. Playing this off, playing that off, playing the top off. And then I can cap that, but I'm going to cap it in the beech. So it's the start of the beech. I'm using up oak for this because I've got oak offcuts. Yeah, we'll get the beech start to go on there soon, and that will start to look. And I've got a crafty way of doing that. I want to show you. So I was talking to Matt about it, and it probably, if your eye is there and you're viewing the bench that way, this bottom rail here will probably be made up like this. There's a top, there's a mitre, and this is all the cladding. And then underneath might be a piece which goes, well, will be a piece that goes to there. That will go out to there, and then there will be a piece that comes in here, and then all of that timber you see there will be here. So that'll be that piece, the round, that piece, the round. And as I say, you'll look at that from that way or this way, and you'll almost see no joins. That join there, I'm going to be crafty with that. I think what I will be doing is getting a piece of wood, putting the mitre in there, so that this is the outside, that is the outside, out of the same piece of wood, and that will then mean that these two pieces of wood, there might be a join down here, but these two pieces of wood will be the same, so it'll look like one solid piece. That's the plan. See how it goes. So it's Tuesday and I'm starting to take the cramps off here. So let's take the cramps off and start putting another piece on. Undoing the cramps, keeping them set up, keeping them handy, ready for using again in a minute. I'm now going to move the threaded rod. And the reason for this is I want to make sure none of the glue is actually gripping the thread on the rod. So just give it a little shove out and then pull it this way to make sure that it all still works freely. Then it's about removing the cardboard, which is inevitably a little bit stuck down the bottom end. So I just grab hold of a scalpel and I just cut this away. Let's speed this up a bit now then. New cardboard back in, glue on, strip with the varnish side on the inside against the thread, more cardboard to make sure I've still got that spacing, and get these G-clamps on. That's it. Now, I'm not sure if I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again anyhow, just in case. It is a long-winded process. It does take time, but trust me, it's worth it. It really is worth it. So I'm just stealing moments here and there just to get this done. I now need to turn it over to do the underside of that one, and then hopefully I'll be able to get these off later today and do the underside of this one. So it'd be nice if I could get this part of it finished today. So again, let's just speed all of this up. More glue on, setting the timber in place, which is great. It fits really well. I then found that because of the twist in this timber, I had to use a sash cramp again, and this time I sort of pushed it onto the timber to help hold it down, but this is to straighten up this bent piece of timber, which is a pain in the neck, but that's how it goes. Another 3 on, which is good, but this has just come in. And this I made about 10 years ago. This lovely little stool. There you go. Little kidney shaped stool. It's had an issue recently, so the top needs refinishing. I need to get rid of that dark patch, refinish it. But doesn't it look beautiful? Nearly 10 years old. Nice colour, American white oak. There's my stamp, and I think I'm going to take some patterns from it because it looks really good. I like it. So if you sometimes think I'm not working fast enough or I'm not doing enough, that door is mostly open. So if people want to come in and talk and maybe get some work, footfall, it doesn't happen very often, but that's where my work comes from. So I stop everything, get on with that, and now it's another job added to the list. So right, let me show you this. Just one more to do now. Just that one under there. So I think I'll push it back over there and see if I can sneak it on here, see if this one's gone off enough. It's been on about half an hour, I think. It'd be good if I could get that one on, because then they're all finished then, and the next thing is taking it apart and move on to the next bit. Welcome back. Let's have a look, see what I've been up to. Well, the guys have gone. It's 9 o'clock at night, and I've managed to plane this one down, and if you look at it, it's nice and smooth and nice. It's all been done by hand. I'll show you in a sec. This is still proud, so this is good. It all still works nicely. This I'm not proud of, and I don't know what it's come down to, because the hole was correct, but anyhow, it's a little bit wider this side than that side. I'm not worried about it. Not worried about it. So that one's done inside and out. And as you can see, I put plane marks on here because this just comes up a little bit, but not much. So I've put pencil marks on here to plane down to make sure I plane it right. This one, I messed up. I don't mind telling you I messed up. And this one came loose because I hadn't left it long enough to dry. So this can be planed in the morning. But as you can see, there's about 3 mil to take off there, maybe 2.5 mil, and maybe 1.5 mil off there. And I will plane these. And when these are plain, I'll put it back together, and then I'll start working out the material for the top here. So it's getting very exciting. Material for the top. I'll show you what I've had a look at. I think I've got this piece is just long enough. I think I might be able to get the front out of this one piece, and maybe the top. But I'll cut it. I'm going to leave that joint in because it's not too bad actually. Look, I mean, we can't even see the joint, so I'm happy with that. So if it means I can cut it here, maybe at 45 degrees, that could be my front rail. As I said, I'm interested in the front rail being a good job. It doesn't matter about the back rail. We don't really see the backs of the benches. We do over here a bit. We don't really see the backs of the benches. I just want this part and the top looking good. I mean, this looks all right. You can see where it is in there. That's where the threaded bar in there, and that was a lot easier to do than putting in infill of mahogany. But look how deep it is. It's 7 inches deep. Whereas, as I said, that would be too narrow. So a good day. I'm really pleased, and don't forget, like, share, comment and whatever. Beard's still a mess. Good morning. What we've got going on today, let me show you. I'm going to strip this down and I'm going to start planing that. Let's get this one sorted. The other one is here, as you've seen, and it's in and it's ready and it's great. Let's get that one planed. And here we go. I'm going to start planing. It's in the vice because I haven't got any bench dogs, which is one of the reasons why I'm making this bench, because I'm ticking that box. I'm getting that thing out the way. I've got some bench dogs and they're in a drawer. But anyhow, start
at the end of that piece of wood on the right hand side, and I'm working my way to the left, and I'll move it along in the vise in a minute. But I'm planing with the camber just to the inner part of the piece of timber, so that the edge of that new piece I've added is a little bit more proud, and I'm only talking thousandths of an inch, a little bit more proud than the middle part of the pine, and that's to get a really tight joint.
Hello, welcome back. It's Thursday morning. I've been doing a bit to this. I did a bit to this last night. I'm going to show you a little bit now what I'm up to. Right, so I'm planing this off, and the reason I'm planing this off, these strips of wood, I made a mistake, and that one's a bit lower than this one. I'm double checking, can you see that all right? I'm double checking how square they are, because it's going to have a piece capping over this. So as you can see, there's a gap under that one there, right on the right. And when it's square, I'll stop planing it off. I'm trying that in as well to make sure that I don't go lower than that, because I don't want to go lower than the threaded rod. If I do slightly, I might just take a little V out of the middle of here, out there with a gouge. So I've got a few gouges. I could get, say, that one. I could get this, and I could come down here. Look at that, where the drill went. See where the drill went? Look at that. So I could come down here, and I could just chisel a little bit, which would just allow the thread to sit a little bit lower. Do I need to do this? I don't think so. I don't know. We will see. But it's quite therapeutic, actually. Just knowing that I'm taking the middle out. I suppose it's like a safety buffer, isn't it? There you go. Anyway, I've done it now. So I was thinking of doing it, and I've done it. Anyhow, this thing sits in there, like so. And if I put that there, as you can see, the threaded bar rod should be underneath. It is. It should be underneath there anyhow. But I just wanted to have that little bit of freedom within there. Not too much, but I wanted to slide together still as easy as it did earlier in the video. I want it to slide together. Anyhow, I'm going to get this done, and then I'm going to start cutting this timber down here, and I'm going to make the front fascia and the top bit, and we'll go through that in a sec. And I'm keeping the centre of the plane exactly in the centre of that piece of timber, so that I know it'll be square. And it just almost, I mean, that's about 8mm wide. It's almost balancing on there. I'm having to make sure it doesn't topple off.
Some of you might think this is over the top, but it's well worth the effort. So double check everything.
Not quite this end.
And because I'm building on top of this, I just don't want any surprises. I want to know exactly what's going on at any one time.
So it turns out I planed the one edge of the plank, whereas I needed to be the other edge. So I've got to take all of this down on the opposite one, because this is the edge that I'm going to go and try and glue tonight. But I want to say to you that while I'm planing this up, every time I'm doing it, I'm thinking, yes, this is a long-winded way of doing things. Yes, it's a bit of a pain in the neck, but I'm also thinking, look how easy it's going to make putting this bench back together, assembling it, disassemble it. This will work out brilliantly. I've got to be patient. I've just got to keep doing it. I know it works. It's worth doing. Checking with the square, playing in it, enjoying the process. That's it. And as I did on the first one, that first edge, I'm going to repeat it. I'm just going to take that millimetre or so with a gouge, take it off that middle part that's touching the inner part of the plank. So how to test if this is working? I put the threaded rod back in the channel and thought, hang on, if I just put a square on the top and just see if because the piece of wood's going to be clamped down onto this, and just see if it moves a square. And the square didn't balance right just here.
So then I knew, right, I've got to take a bit off there. I've got to sort this little bit out. What I found was there's a couple of edges of knots that are coming through there. You can just see them on the evidence on the side of the plank, that there's just some harder timber there, and I just hadn't taken enough off. I'd just not removed enough, deep enough with the gouge. And we've reached that point already. We've got to the point where this is the first piece of beech that's going to go on the bench. Finally got here. Feels like ages since I would first discuss this beech. Anyhow, the first thing I've got to do is prepare a piece long enough to fit onto to be the same length or longer than these rails. And then I've got to prepare it. Don't forget, this was cut out with a jigsaw, and it's got biscuits down the edge of it. So here's the evidence of those biscuits, which there isn't really that much left of it now, just little bits of slots within the shaving. There you go. And yeah, I've got to get this edge planed up, squared, ready for me to put through the saw. Right, I've cut those 4 pieces now. Cut that on the saw into 5, so I've got a spare one. And I'm going to glue it on here. But do you remember I said that this has got a terrible bow in it? Well, we've just been having a laugh at this because it's pretty bad. If I put that there, I've got 4mm, that's just over an eighth that end, and I've got 3mm, an eighth of an inch that end. Yeah, it doesn't look much, sound much, but whenever I do that and I lean against here and then I do that, the gap up there is, can you see it? There's the gap. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to cramp, before I glue that onto here, I'm going to cramp a straight edge onto here, but with a packer there. I want this to bend around past straight. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to bend it this way, past straight, and I'm going to then glue one of those on the top of there. So give me a sec and I'll set this up. So that's that end cramped. Here's a 6mm spacer, and now I've got this huge gap at this end. So this isn't just straightening it, this is adding another 6mm in the opposite direction. So look at the spacer now, so we can see it's 6mm this way. So if I glue that onto there, that spacer needs to go down a bit. Right, it's on, it's flush there, it's flush on the end, it's flush here, it's flush there. I've got it upright there to help put some bow on it, it's flush there. So I don't know why my head was being silly about this and I couldn't get my head around it, but basically by laminating it in this fixed position, it's this, that piece of wood it's under pressure, but this way. But when I let go of it, when I take all the cramps off, it'll go, but hopefully go back to straight, or straighter than it was. So remember, we've got to remember this. It was about 3mm that end, 3 or 4mm that end, 3mm that end, about 6 or 7mm overall. So we've got to remember that. And when I take these cramps off tomorrow, I can put the straight edge back on and see if that little bit of wood will make a difference. So this one, I'm going to show you what that is. That timber is this one. So it's on the bottom, it's square, and it's square to flush with the face of the inner timber, flush with the face of the inner timber. The next one to get on with is the face, which we mitered at the top, and the top, which we mitered at the top. And then I can do this piece last, because this piece can be a little bit too long and I can just plane it off to suit. So that's where I'm going with it, and it's working pretty good.
Right, Friday morning, got to switch everything on and let's see how that thing looks after its night in the cramps. Right, all the cramps holding the piece of wood are off, so now it's about, have I lost any of the bow? So let's carefully, actually Matt, could you give me a lift? Please, could you undo that cramp?
This one?
Yeah, and hold the piece of wood. Oh, it's coming off. Right. That's out the way, that's out the way, that's out the way. So, is it any straighter because I've glued this piece of wood on? So how much out was it? It was about 3 mil either end. How can I show you that? And it was about 3 or 4 mil in the middle. It's very similar. It's very similar. If I held that where I held it yesterday, zoom in. If I hold that there, I've reduced it by half. That on there, that gap is now about 4 mil. So I've reduced the bow in that by about 2 mil, 2.5 mil, 3 mil, which is better than I expected. So just that strip of wood has started taking the bow out. So now you can see the bow, it's going off to the right, the far end, but it's not as bad as it was. So that's great. So I've got the other side to glue on, so that will help take the bow out of that side. And then I've got the front and back, which will go on, which again, I will glue. This is doing well. Right, I think that's it for this week. I can't do any more. This still works. So that shows that even with that glued on and done, it's not stopping. And this channel in the end here, this channel is absolutely spot on. You can't even see. Can we see right down there? Yeah, there's a bit of light. Brilliant. Happy. I'm happy with that. That's brilliant. And yeah, I'll get on with getting some of the other bits and pieces done. Like, share, subscribe, all the other stuff. Buy me a coffee. I've got Patreon now. Thank you to the guys who do support me on Patreon. That's doing really well. Pleased with that. And buy me a coffee. Super thanks. So, and next week we'll have a couple of these done and move on to doing the faces, which will then make a huge difference to the strength, to the weight, and getting these curves out. So thanks for watching. Cheers. So now all I'm going to do is put the cardboard in there like that. Oh, trying to do it with the camera in my hand. Oh, I've messed that up. If there's another couple of minutes after this, then I've done well with editing this week and I've got it all done. If there isn't, then see you in the next video. Cheers.